All right, diving right in, we've got a big one to unpack today. This is a match a lot of you are hyped for. Indonesia versus Saudi Arabia. World Cup qualifier, huge stakes. And you sent in this article from tvonews.com to get us started. It's titled, hold on, let me get this right. Bikara Persiapan, Timnas Indonesia, Hadapi Arab Saudi. Shin Tae-yong, Singgung Kondisi Fisik Pemain, Semua Kelelahan Den. So basically, Coach Shin Tae-yong talking about the team's physical state.
And right away, yeah, the fatigue issue jumps out. But it's more nuanced than just, oh, the guys are tired from the last game.
Okay, so let's break this down. The article gives us this quote, Semua Kelelahan Den, which means everyone is tired but it cuts off there. What's the full context?
Well, think about it. That last match against Japan, it was a grinder. Really took a lot out of them. But then on top of that, the travel schedule for Indonesia, brutal. Much longer flight back compared to Saudi Arabia.
So Shin Tae-yong might be hinting at a recovery disadvantage here, more than just tired legs.
Exactly. And this is where it gets interesting. Because, we've seen this before with Coach Shin Tae-yong. He's a master at using every little thing, every disadvantage, to fire up his team.
Ah, so you're saying he could spin this fatigue issue into a us against the world kind of thing. I mean, the article does mention the Garuda nickname for the Indonesian team.
It's definitely in his playbook.
Yeah.
Remember the AFF championship back in 22?
Yeah.
Indonesia, they were the underdogs. But Shin Tae-yong, he used that. He fueled their fighting spirit. And I can totally see him doing the same thing here, turning this recovery gap into a rallying cry for the Garuda, for the fans.
So understanding Coach Shin Tae-yong, his psychology, it's almost as important as breaking down the tactics, right?
Absolutely. And if we look at his past strategies,
Yeah.
especially against the tougher teams, there's a pattern there. Disciplined defense, quick counterattacks.
Which makes sense, because Saudi Arabia, they love that possession-based game.
Right. So I would be surprised to see him use a similar approach in this match.
Yeah.
Let Saudi Arabia have the ball, then hit him on the break.
Absorb the pressure, then bam, strike with speed. Makes sense. But will it be enough to satisfy the Indonesian fans? I mean, they are known for their love of attacking football.
That is the question. Indonesian fans, they are incredibly passionate, and they do love to see their team going forward.
Yeah.
But they also appreciate a coach who's smart, a coach who knows how to get results.
So Shin Tae-yong needs to find that balance. Pragmatism, but also exciting football. A tough task.
Oh, it's a tightrope walk, for sure. And that's what makes this match so compelling. You've got the fatigue issue. You've got the tactical puzzle of how to beat Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And then you've got the whole psychological dimension of managing those fan expectations. It's going to be fascinating.
This is shaping up to be more than just a game, huh? It's like a strategic and psychological chess match.
Yeah, a real chess match. So let's actually, picture this. How might this all play out on the field? Because Shin Tae-yong, he's not just going to sit back, right? He's going to have some specific tactical wrinkles up his sleeve to try and throw Saudi Arabia off.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that. I mean, we talked about a counterattacking approach, but what could that look like in terms of, formations or specific players he might choose?
Well, if I had to guess, and knowing Shin Tae-yong a bit, I'd say a 4-4-2 diamond formation is pretty likely. Gives you that nice compact midfield, makes it harder for Saudi Arabia to just pass through you.
A diamond formation. Okay, now I'm not a total expert on all the formations, but how would that actually match up against what we expect from Saudi Arabia?
Right. So they usually go with a 4-3-3, which, is very attacking, very potent, but it can leave them a little exposed out wide.
Yeah.
On the flanks. And that's where that diamond midfield for Indonesia could be really clever.
Yeah.
Clogging up those central areas, forcing Saudi Arabia to play wider than they'd like.
So it's like, okay, you want to play through the middle, we're going to make that super tough, force you to go where we want you to go. But then wouldn't that leave Indonesia outnumbered up front if they're stacking the midfield like that?
That's the thing. That's where player selection becomes so important. And, don't be surprised if you see someone like, name of a versatile Indonesian midfielder known for defensive work rate playing at the tip of that diamond. That guy, he never stops running. Solid defensively, but can also push forward when needed.
Oh, yeah, the unsung hero type, the engine of the team. Kind of reminds me of name of a famous similar player from another team. The guys who do all the dirty work but are absolutely vital.
Spot on. And then, further up the field, you've got to figure we'll see a duo like name of a speedy Indonesian winger and name of another pacey forward. Their speed will be crucial for those quick transitions. Got to catch that Saudi defense off guard.
Okay, so we've got a solid midfield, speed on the counter, but what about the air? I mean, the article mentions that Saudi Arabia has some tall physical guys. That's got to be a worry for Shin Tae-yong, right? especially on set pieces.
Definitely. This is where that defensive discipline we were talking about. It's going to be seriously tested. Any little lapse in concentration, and Saudi Arabia can punish you. Those set pieces are always dangerous.
Yeah, so staying organized, winning those aerial duels, that's going to be huge. But, like, doesn't fatigue play a role there too? Won't tired legs make it that much harder to react quickly on those set pieces?
You're bringing up a very valid point. Another layer of complexity for Shin Tae-yong to manage. Don't be shocked if he has to make substitutions earlier than usual just to keep those defenders fresh.
Man, it's like he's juggling, like, 5 different things at once. The tactics, the players' fitness levels, the opponent's strengths, high-pressure stuff.
That's what separates the good coaches from the great ones.
Yeah.
And Shin Tae-yong, he's known for being meticulous, for adapting on the fly. But even with the best plans, football often comes down to those little moments of individual brilliance.
All right, well, let's talk about those moments then. Who are some of the key players to watch, the potential game changers?
Well, one matchup that really jumps out at me is in the midfield. It's going to be Indonesia's name of a prominent Indonesian midfielder up against Saudi Arabia's name of a key Saudi Arabian midfielder. Real clash of styles there.
Ooh, okay, a midfield duel. Break it down for me. All right, lay it on me. What makes this midfield matchup so special?
Well, on the one hand, you've got Indonesian midfielder. He's the classic playmaker. Elegance, vision, can really dictate the tempo with his passing, but not exactly known for his defensive work rate. And then you've got Saudi midfielder on the other side. Total powerhouse, box to box. He's going to be all over the place. Pressing, disrupting, trying to make life miserable for the Indonesian playmaker.
Oh, I like this. The artist versus the warrior. Both essential to their teams, but in totally different ways.
Perfect analogy. If Indonesian midfielder can get some space, some time on the ball, he can unlock that Saudi defense. No problem. But if Saudi midfielder wins that battle, shuts him down, it could really disrupt Indonesia's whole attacking flow.
So much riding on this one duel in the middle of the park. It's almost like, it's a symbol of the whole match, right?
Yeah.
Indonesia, the technical skill. Saudi Arabia, the physicality.
Exactly. And that's what makes these individual matchups so fun to break down, adds another layer to how we understand the game.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm thinking about individual battles now. Any other ones we should have circled on our, imaginary tactical whiteboard here?
For sure. Can't forget about Indonesia's center back, name of a strong Indonesian central defender, going up against Saudi Arabia's main striker, name of a dangerous Saudi Arabian striker.
Ah, yes, the classic defender versus striker. Always a good one. What are we working with here? What can you tell me about these two?
So you've got Indonesian defender. This guy's a rock. Tons of experience, strong in the air, reads the game really well. Not the quickest, maybe, but he's always in the right spot. And that is key against a striker like Saudi striker, who, by the way, is all about those darting runs in behind the defense.
So, our defender is the savvy veteran, using his brain to stay a step ahead. What about the Saudi striker, then? What makes him so dangerous?
Well, with Saudi striker, it's all about that speed, the movement. And man, can he finish. He's not the biggest or strongest guy, but he's just so clever, finding those little pockets of space in the box.
So we've got a real clash of styles here. Strength versus finesse should be a fun one to watch.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see if Indonesian defender can use that strength, that experience, to just bully Saudi striker off the ball. Or will the Saudi striker's movement be too much for him to handle? These are the kinds of battles that can change the whole momentum of a match.
As we've been talking, I've been thinking, we've covered the fatigue, Shin Tae-yong's tactics, these key matchups. But what about the fans? Haven't even mentioned the Indonesian fans yet.
You're right. How could we forget? The Gelora Bung Karno Stadium, packed with those passionate supporters, could be Indonesia's secret weapon.
Man, I saw Indonesia play there a few years back. The atmosphere was electric, the noise, the chants, you could feel the energy.
That's what makes football in Indonesia so special. The fans, they're not just spectators. They're part of the team. They can lift the players up when they're struggling, and they can make it really intimidating for the opponents.
So even if Indonesia is tired, even if Saudi Arabia is a tough opponent, that home crowd advantage, it could make all the difference.
No doubt about it. The roar of that crowd, the sea of red and white, it can push those Indonesian players to another level.
This has been a real eye-opener. All the little things that go into this match, it's not just about who's better on paper, it's the tactics, the mental side of things, the physical challenges, and, of course, the incredible power of those fans.
It's all connected, all part of what makes this sport so beautiful, so dramatic. And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This match, it's going to be a spectacle. Clash of styles, a battle of wills, and a celebration of everything we love about this sport.
And like we've been saying, in football, anything is possible. Can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Well, I know I'm already on the edge of my seat. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Learned a ton today.
Glad to be here. And to all our listeners out there, remember, football's more than just a game. It's a story waiting to be told, full of passion, skill, strategy, and those little moments of magic that make it so special. Enjoy the match, everyone.